Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Sky Pods, where we'll be discussing the Leeds v Liverpool game this evening. Because believe it or not, there is actually a football match to be played. So, first of all, Dave, give us the team and we'll react to it.
Right, Alisson in goal. Slight surprise at the back in the fact that Fabinho is playing centre back with Kabak. Alexander-Arnold and Robertson at fullbacks. And then in midfields, Wijnaldum, Milner and Thiago. And a front three of Jota, Firmino and Mane. So no Salah.
No Salah and Fabinho with the centre at centre back. So Dave, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, you can't, it's tried and tested. I'm a little bit surprised that Milner's in, but, the gaffer knows best. We've all found this house. And it puts Thiago back in to be pulling the strings. Maybe that's his way of countering the way Leeds play football,
So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.
Do you want to give us your team and then tell us what you expect we'll see from Leeds tonight and what you expect to happen?
Yeah, mate. Sure. So we got Meslier in goal. I think he's been good this year for a young keeper. Ayling at right back, the young lad strike, and Llorente at centre back. And we've got Alioski at left back. Phillips in that holding role. It'll probably be Dallas and Roberts in the middle with Harrison and Helder Costa out wide. No Rafinha tonight, which is probably a big miss for us. And then big Paddy B up front.
So do you think this is a good time to be playing Liverpool, Ben?
I mean, I appreciate you guys aren't in the best form compared to the high levels you set the last couple of years, but you guys have still got a lot to play for. You want that fourth place, don't you? You want that fourth place. So I wouldn't say it's a good time to play you. There's never a good time to play Liverpool.
We want that fourth place, Steve, do we? What's your reaction to that comment?
Fourth place. I'm not sure why we want fourth place, mate. We're getting binned off from everything, aren't we? Because of what's been going on in the last 24 hours.
That's what I mean.
Until we know, mate, you would expect the players to be professional, go and do their job. There are distractions, obviously. That goes without saying, but until we know 100% where we're at, I think we all know where this is going. Until the decisions are made, just carry on as it was. Try the best to carry on as it was.
How do you see tonight's game going, Steve?
It'd be very open. Leeds don't do defensive games of football, do they? So it'd be a really nice game to watch. I have to say, mate, Leeds are a little bit of my guilty pleasure this season. They're great to watch. I like what they're doing. I like what the manager's doing. I've no problem with them at all. They're a massive club with huge heritage. Seems a bit ironic saying that in terms of the things that have gone on since yesterday. But yeah, it's good to have Leeds back, and they gave us a fright on the opening day of the season, didn't they? And they'll do it again tonight, mate. If we're not at it tonight, Leeds will capitalise on it because, as they've proven, they can beat anybody on their day, and you have to respect them. You have to have a plan for them. And I'm looking forward to an open game of football where it will be good for the neutral as well as both sets of fans.
Where do you think the game will be won and lost tonight, Dave? Kong?
I think it could be like it has been in the last few weeks, mate. It's won and lost these days now because the flanks have been okay. We've been playing well, but I think it could be won and lost in midfield. We've got to take our chances tonight. We have got to take our chances when they come up. You get a bit more solidity at the back, obviously, because they put Fabinho in there, and he's done that for a reason. Kloppo doesn't do anything without a reason. He's that shrewd. But I would say it may be won and lost in midfield.
Where do you think the key battle is tonight, Dave? How?
I think Costa might try and exploit some space in wide areas for us, or for them. Sorry, and Harrison. I think they're. I was really impressed with Harrison opening game of the season. I thought he brought a lot of energy and he probably hasn't got. I don't know. Ben could probably tell us a lot more about Harrison, but I just think that he probably hasn't got the amount of goals that you might like from a wide man. Bamford's obviously been the main man for them, and Dallas has chipped in with a few. But yeah, I think it's really. I always think if our fullbacks play well, if we come here and the game's finished and we think our fullbacks have had a good night, then generally we've won the game.
Ben, how would the Leeds team feel by not seeing Salah starting tonight?
I mean, the thing is, you got quality all around the squad. You got quality, but Salah, he's the guy who gets the goals at the end of the day. So it's a bit of a weird one seeing him rested, dropped, whatever you want to call it. But with Jota coming in, like he's a player who obviously I've seen in the Championship when he was at Wolves, quality player. So he's a top replacement coming in. So I think they won't be too fussed about Salah. They'll be focused on the other three: Mane, Firmino, and Jota.
With the stuff that's going on outside the ground tonight, Steve, with people chanting at the team bus and whatever the antics have been so far that I've seen on social media tonight, do you think the Liverpool players will be able to shut off from that, or do you think it'll affect them, Steve?
No more than what's gone on will affect them anyway, because looking at some of the testimonies and the things written on social media by professional footballers, Ander Herrera, for instance, at PSG, it comes across like no one saw this coming, or if they did, the clubs didn't share it with the playing staff and the coaching staff. So their heads will be all over the place, mate. Thinking about the permutations, thinking about what happens if this comes to pass, the opportunities to play in games every week against the caliber of people, the confusion, the disappointment, because I'm not going to dwell on it because we did our piece last night, but they're in touch with the fans, and the fans have been sold out by these millionaire, billionaire owners who just want money. So I expect a few Liverpool players to be sort of, shall we say, distracted tonight. I don't think you can go into a game tonight with what's gone on. As much as there's escapism involved in playing football, in that regard, it means when you're playing on the pitch, the rest of the world doesn't matter. But it's been a bizarre almost 24 hours, isn't it? So, and it affects Liverpool players far more than it does Leeds for obvious reasons. Expect them to be distracted, mate, because I think they will be.
Do you agree with that, Dave? Do you think the players will be distracted today or tonight, or do you think they'll be able to shut off? Dave Kong.
All depends on the individual player, doesn't it? And the experience. I think the older heads, the likes of Milner, he might be all right, I reckon. I think Fabinho should be, because they're totally focused on the game in hand, aren't they? It's a very difficult one to call. I would say sometimes it all depends on the individual. The younger players might struggle with a little bit, I would say, but really speaking, the older players should be okay. I mean, all we're doing is surmising, but I would say hopefully Fabinho and Milner will keep their heads on, and let's see about us turning Leeds over tonight.
Dave, why do you think Fabinho's gone back into defence tonight? Is it to get Milner into midfield to play against his old team? Is there a bit of romanticism there, or what? Was you surprised Fabinho back there?
I was just looking through the subs, Ian, and there's no Phillips from what I can see. So I don't know whether that's suspension, that's an injury. I haven't seen anything about that. So I think all that's saying is he's only Davies is on the bench and Reece Williams is on the bench. So I think all it's saying is that he doesn't trust either of those two enough to play him in the game like tonight when he's got Fabinho, who is a king of snuffing up danger. Well, my son's just informed it's a minor hamstring injury, so
there you go.
Dave, before you come on next time, can you just have a chat with your Theo, mate, and get the lowdown before you come on? So you know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Must do, mate. He's only tuned in because Ben's on.
Right, okay.
Go on, Theo. You'd have to see it.
So, Ben, just a general thought as well. I know it must have been strange being back in the Premier League with all the crowds not being there and whatnot. But how has it felt, Leeds being back in the Premier League after being absent from it for such a time?
Look, my worry, mate, was, I'm 27 years old. My whole life growing up, we've always been out of the Premier League. I got into it when we were in the Premier League, early 2002. But we've always been outside the Premier League. And I was worried that we would go up, have a COVID season where there's no fans and get relegated. But luckily, looks like we're safe this season. So hopefully we can kick on next season and get a bit of an atmosphere going.
Just a tag on the end of that, Ben. Have Leeds exceeded your expectations then? Could you have even expected them to do as well as they've done?
To be honest, the thing with our style of play is when it goes wrong, it goes terribly wrong, Our attacking style of play, sometimes it completely backfires. But I always knew that we'd score goals in the Premier League because of the way we play. We've got a proper system. Bielsa knows them. They all know exactly what they need to be doing. And I think that's why we've managed to score goals and, be ahead of the likes of Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield United, And overall, yeah, I think I secretly was expecting us to finish mid-table, but you never know what's going to happen in the Premier League. But yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm very happy.
With the Phillips minor hamstring injury, Steve, are you surprised that Fabinho's gone back at centre-back? Or would you have rather seen Reece Williams or Ben Davies get a run out tonight?
I think it's a concern because the one thing Leeds are paying for is this quick transition. I watched the thing on the other day, like 6 seconds from front to back. Very, very quick transition. They play to their strengths. Bamford has surprised everybody, probably himself to some degree. But he's very mobile, runs across the line really well, will show up for all the balls. He's had a great season, mate. If he gets England recognition, he thoroughly deserves it, to be fair. He's not going to join the Super League, so he won't get banned for playing for England. That'll be all right. So putting Fabinho back there, maybe a bit of experience to talk to the boys in front about where the danger is, because I've said before, we're not a vocal side. If you watch the back four, they don't speak. Van Dijk's your voice, Gomez to some degree. We've got a quiet goalkeeper, 2 fullbacks. Robbo's a bit more vocal, but often is 40 yards up the pitch trying to build attack. So that's out of respect for Leeds, that is, mate, putting Fabinho back there because of the way he leads the game. I think what Bamford doesn't have is electric pace. He's fit, he's mobile, he works hard for the whole game, but he's not particularly quick. He's not like a Vardy character that will accelerate away from you if he gets in behind you. And I think in terms of footballing ability, you might see that Fabinho's in the team to do a number on him, same way he did with Timo Werner at the start of the season. And there is a guy with pace, so there might be a reason for playing for that.
So I'll go round you. I'm not going to ask for the score, but I want to ask you for the prediction for tonight. So I'll start with you first, Dave Gong. The optimist. How do you think we'll get on tonight, Dave?
I would say a scrappy 2-1 win. And I know that shocked everyone, because I'm usually going for big scores, but, if they try and play football as take us on play football tonight, if we can match them and be first to the ball, but for some reason, I'm not expecting it all to be plain sailing tonight. That's why I'm going for a 2-1 win. Same
question to you, Dave. How do you think it'll go tonight? What do you think the results will be?
Really tough game, mate. Really tough game. I was so impressed with Leeds' first game of the season, and I'm with Steve. I think they're a bit of a not so guilty pleasure for me, actually. I've really enjoyed watching them this season. If Leeds are on, I'd always try and watch them. I've heard this thing, but I've read quite a lot about Bielsa before, and I wonder whether because of the way he plays, it's again a question for Ben and maybe Steve as well, and some and you guys. But I wonder whether because of the way he plays, whether that's why he hasn't had a really top job, Bielsa. He's been at a lot of good clubs, but not of any really, really top jobs, Obviously, he was manager of Argentina for a bit, but it's a bit different in international football, isn't it? So, yeah, I mean, really interesting character, really interesting team, and I think I'll be delighted if we win here. I think it's that tough a game.
How do you think it's going to happen, Ben? How do you think it's going to go?
Firstly, what Dave said, I do take that on board. Like, I think Bielsa's so stubborn with the way he plays. That might be the reason why he hasn't taken the top jobs, because he'll never change his play style. Even if you're getting dominated, he will not change it. But I can't come on here and say we're going to lose, so I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. The optimism in me saying a 2-2 draw. There's definitely going to be goals in this game, I'll tell you that.
How do you think it'll go tonight, Steve?
Just picking up on Dave's point about Bielsa not having a big job. He doesn't change his style, does he? I heard that he agreed to sign a player, went to the player's house, was told he was in bed, went to the player's bedroom, pulled back the quilt, had a look at his legs, and then left. seriously, straight up. That's true. That I didn't make that up just for the pod to make you guys laugh. That's true.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
He's out there like.
What was up with his legs? Hey, what was up with his legs? Did you have a blonde on him?
Just wanted to make sure he had footballer's legs, Dave. Like you. Yeah. So I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think it'll be.
Yeah.
Could even be more than 2-2 because both teams. This game is going to be wide open. This game is going to be not for the faint-hearted. Right now, the case to say both of these teams struggle to defend things properly. And both of these teams are pretty sharp going forward. So I'd like to see Liverpool nick it in the last minute and win 4-3. Mate. We need some entertainment given what we have to put up with, haven't we? So it'd be nice to see a really open game, one we could enjoy and talk about, sort of months and years into the future. Because these memories, we have to hang on to them, don't we? So we might not have them.
Yeah, true enough.
But it will be a great game, and you know what? As I said, I'll say what I said before. I echo Dave Powell. It's really, really good to be playing against a Leeds side. They were they are part of English football's history, and they don't belong in the Championship, mate. So I, for one, am very pleased to see him troubling defences in the Premier League, mate. Just not ours tonight. Thank you very much.
I echo that, Steve. I've always wanted to see Leeds back up in the Premiership when they came up. I just thought we'd be playing a few more seasons with them.
It's not over yet.
Oh, it is, Dave. It is.
Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we can discuss that a little bit more later in the post-match. But we'll let you guys go, get you settled down, get your kettle on, get your beers open, and we'll see you after the game. And hopefully we'll have watched a great win. And if you're a red like us 4, well, us 5, it'll be red 3 points. But hopefully for you, mate, you get to watch a good match. So see you after the match.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, boys. Enjoy.